Well, today I want to tell you a story. And it's a story I think about so often. It has to do with horses, and it has to do with leadership, and it has to do with huge transformation, but with a lot more. And if you have a mentor or had a mentor who taught you some things, I mean, these are sometimes lessons that stick with you for the rest of your life, right? And this is one of those lessons I'm going to share with you now. It was about, I think 8 or 10 years ago. I went to this horse guy, and he's a really good horseman, right? His name is Joe Walter, and if you know a little bit about horses, you may have heard his name. He's one of the big guys, right? But very, very down to earth. And because I wanted to learn more, right? So it was the winter time. It was in Texas, in the middle of nowhere. It was cold, and anyway, but it was a great time. Now, and it was at lunchtime. It was like, there was like a couple of gals from Oregon. It was myself. It was about 5 people at the table. And then Don, he just kind of looked around and said, "Guys, do you have something that I can teach you while you're here?" And I said, "Joe, you know what? I was like kind of like really shy to say it, but I said it anyway. I said, I really want to learn how you lay a horse down. You know, like in that movie, The Horse Whisperer. I don't know if you've seen it with Robert Redford. When he lays that horse down, it's kind of like a reset. And you do that with horses that are in trouble, that are traumatized. That's kind of like you get them down to 0 and you start all over. And I wanted to learn that. So I asked him, I said, "Yeah, I actually want to learn how to do that." He said, "All right." A couple of days later, it was late in the afternoon. I was riding a young horse, and he was riding a horse with a lot of fire, really a lot of fire. And a very wiry guy that horse was. And he turned to me and he said, "You know what, Mickey? I think today is a good day to lay him down." And I was, oh shoot, I was up for something, okay? Now I got off my horse, and it was, just imagine, it was a huge round pen, big. In the middle was a tractor tire, right, where they always put hay for the cows. So it was just me, that little horse. I sat down on the tractor tire, and Joe was working that horse. Now he took a rope. You know, cowboys always have the rope. You get that rope, put it on the horse's foot, the loop on the horse's foot, dialed it on around the saddle horn, and just pulled it up, and that horse kind of took off. Now he kind of had that rope pretty tight. Now that horse, you can imagine, kind of jumping like a little rabbit, you know, up and down and up and down. And sometimes that horse went down with both feet and went up again and went down and went up and all that stuff. It took forever. Now what I noticed, and that was my first, that's the first thing that really, really impressed me. I mean, Joe, he was not like, I'm gonna force that sucker down. No, none of it. When he saw that this horse was fighting too much, he released the rope. He released the rope. And he took it easy. He gave him a break, and he did it again, because he didn't want to force the horse. And I tell you what, this whole thing, it must have lasted about an hour and a half or something. I mean, you lose time. You lose time. You lose the feel for time when you're watching something like that. It's so, because it's so intense, right? And it's like, I still remember that the atmosphere was so mystical. You know, it was like the sun was setting, and all I could see was silhouettes. You see, I mean, it was just shapes. I could see the horse. I could see Joe. I could smell the sand and the horse's sweat. And actually, I could hear the sweat dripping in the back cinch of the saddle. I mean, this is how sweaty that horse was. Not because Joe was forcing it on him, no, because that horse worked himself up. Now finally, yeah, after a long time, Joe turned to me and he said, "You know what, Mickey? He's not ready yet." And when he said that, it was like, I felt so touched by that. I almost cried because it touched me on such a deep level. Because I knew that Joe, I mean, he is a big guy. That horse was a little horse. And he could have easily forced that horse down. It would have taken him nothing. You know, if he had held him a little bit longer, if he pulled a little bit stronger, that horse would have been on the ground. But he didn't do it. And that impressed the shit out of me. And he said, he's just not ready yet. And he was so cool. There was no rage. He was not excited. He was not like, ah. He was so chilled, that guy was. And then I went to him and I said, Joe, so are you gonna keep doing that, what you did today, until he's ready? And then he said something I will never ever forget. And then he said, you know what? When he's ready, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do it. I don't have to lay him down. You see where I'm going with that? And that really, I mean, it just completely blew my mind. First of all, he left that horse's dignity. He left that horse intact. And this is why I was so touched by it. And then, you see, it's all about preparation. Even in your life, in my life. Like when you think you have to do a certain thing to go to a different place, sometimes that thing, it's not about that thing. It's just about preparing yourself to get there. But once you're there, you don't have to do it anymore. Because it has changed you already to the point where you don't need it anymore. Well, that was my story. One of many stories. But I just wanted to share that with you because I feel it has made a huge impact on me. And it just takes so much the pressure off because you know you don't have to force anything. Just have to step back, think about preparation, and it's all about, leaving the horses and the persons and the people's instincts intact, leaving that essence intact. That's what it's all about. And this is what I saw, this is what I experienced. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. So that was my little story. If you have maybe a similar story, a powerful message that your mentor taught you or is teaching you right now, even if as we speak, this is the place to share it. All right. See you next time. Have a great day and thanks for watching.